Welcome to the Retro Blood.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Retro Blood as we start off a brand new year over here at the Retro Blood Podcast. Thank you all for joining us in our very first review of the 2025. And thanks everybody for checking us out as we start off Killer Objects Month Part 2 here on the Retro Blood. Up first, if y'all like a cop detective who probably has one of the best one-liners I've heard in horror movies, who was an asshole at the beginning of the film but became really cool to the main hero of our story towards the end. If y'all like an environmental science guy with a pretty sweet looking beard, alright, who's out there trying to solve the mystery that 4 million people could not solve and get laid at the same time. And if y'all like some crazy, mad, well, I don't want to spoil it, I guess, but I guess I will, tour guide who hates society and somehow is a genius by blowing people up by phones, then this is the review for you, because the Retro Blood is starting off 2025 talking all about murder by phone. J.H, Alison, James Kline, what's happening, Alison? Have you picked up any kind of landline lately on there?
Luckily, no, but because I didn't get electrocuted or lightning or whatever this is, but yeah, man, I was totally ready to like completely shit on this movie because usually when you put together a month like you did this one, we get Blood Hook and the fishing movie. That was Blood Hook. We get that kind of stuff. So I was really ready for this to be a complete piece of shit. But I was actually impressed with this.
Yeah, actually,
it was a good choice.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like talk about a rare hidden gem out there.
Yeah, this thing has got to be rare as shit. Like it has a big cast in it. Like it's got famous people in it, but I'd never heard of this movie. And we had to watch it on the YouTube because there's no Blu-ray or anything for it, no streaming.
Yeah, no streaming. Yeah. Very, very interesting. Like, I wasn't expecting it too. Like, because, when we do like these, object style horror movie month, they're usually made for like gags, you know what I mean? Just like stupid gags and stuff. Like, some of the movies we're going to be doing later on this month are actually fan requested movies. We'll talk about that when I break down the whole schedule for the month. But yeah, I saw this one, when I was looking for other ones to fill out the month. And, I just thought, you hear the title, Murder by Phone, okay, it's probably going to be goofy and stuff. But, I mean,
it was goofy.
Some of it was goofy, but it actually was, it was actually kind of fun. Like, it was actually kind of like a fun horror movie in a way. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of, like, Halloween 3. You know what I mean? Where you got, like, the main guy who knows there's a conspiracy going on, but he's the only one that's going there to unlock it until he finds his female companion that he fucks. Okay. And they're going to help it out. So that's, other than that, they're not like at all. Right? But it has the same elements that I like, in horror movies and stuff. But I actually was very, just very surprised about the, when you make something like goofy, like the phone being a killer and stuff, it actually had a pretty good backstory behind it, I'd say. That was, pretty good for the time. Obviously, landline phones and how, the killer was killing everybody is so obsolete nowadays. You know what I mean? Because of cell phones and everything. We barely have any landline companies. But, in 1982, brother, that was the biggest form of communication, probably.
Yeah, I mean, this was, it's still ridiculous. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous that you could kill somebody by sending electrical current through a phone.
Yeah,
but
it's science, brother. Okay, environmental science. Oh, what did I say? Sinus?
Yeah, environmental sinus.
The hell am I? But okay, listen. This is the beginning, the first review of the year. I'm still in stout season. I'm finishing up one of the stouts that we talked about last year's, that peppermint one. So you know what I mean? I thought I stout this one out pretty good. So if I fuck up some shit, my bad. But we do got some crazy science, environmental science out there. So
we do, yeah. So that was a big thing at the time, because Richard Chamberlain plays an environmental scientist. So this is like the beginning of like, it was interesting because he's talking about things like climate change in 1982.
Yeah, I know.
And then he's like, they're treating him like he's crazy and like he's like a crazy person. And then now 40 years later, we're seeing the effects.
Well, my favorite was when he was like arguing about like, don't let this technology control your life. I'm like, brother,
you have no idea.
You have no idea. Brother, he that character Nat, nowadays he must just, if his character in Shoot Life is alive right now, you know what I mean? Yeah. He must just be like, oh fuck, everything failed. There's fucking even AI robots out there. You don't even have to have your own mate anymore.
Nope.
All right. So yeah. But everybody, thanks for joining us for Killer Objects Part 2. Like Alison saying, we actually did a Part 1, which you can find in the archives of the Retro Blood, Apple Music, Spotify, or whatever you prefer on your streaming devices. We had such classics like Blades, Bloodhook, Chopping Mall, which actually was pretty good.
Chopping Mall is a good movie.
And of course, one of our favorites, Microwave Massacre.
Oh, Microwave Massacre is such a classic.
That's a classic, brother. Everybody check it out. Retro Blood 66.
That movie is a classic, yeah.
So we're going.
Wow, 66. Holy shit. What episode are we on now? Like 170 or something?
We're on 160. Check this out. We're on 169. So about like 100, almost 100. Yeah, like about 100 episodes past this one.
That's insane, dude. We've been doing this shit a long time.
Yeah, we did Retro Blood 66 Microwave Massacre. We did that January 15th, 2023. So
wow, yeah, man.
So yeah, everybody check it out in the archives, everybody. So Killer Objects Month should be very fun. So, but like I said, at the end of the episode, I will give you all the schedule for this month, so you all can follow along with us. And like I'd said before, a couple of these movies are fan requested. So you can always send us your requests or ideas, or tell us if you like us, tell us we suck. You can check us out on the retroblood69 at Gmail. Send all your requests in there. Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and the YouTube. So go on there, like us, subscribe, tell us we're great, tell us you suck. Just tell us anything. We don't care.
Just tell us anything. Just let us know you're listening.
So let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about when it comes to this movie. But like every Retro Blood that we've been doing from Retro Blood 1 till right now, we're going to talk about what is going on in the world of the pro wrestling and the metal music during the release date of Murder by Phone, which is like, where the hell does this get released at? Do you think this was in theaters?
Yeah, I mean, apparently it was. There's not a lot of information about this movie.
Yeah.
I found an IMDb listing, and there is a Wikipedia article that doesn't even have the plot in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was released in theaters in the United States and in the UK.
There you go. Yeah, definitely a hidden gem. I mean, I would have enjoyed this movie going into the theaters at the time. Watching it. I actually thought it was for its time. I thought it was a pretty clever movie in that way.
Yes, I would agree.
But it came out October 9th, 1982. It was fun to talk about these 1982 movies. A lot of cool shit happened in 1982. So we're going to do the wrestling a little different. If you all followed us on the Facebook, all right, how about everybody go on the Facebook, like us, Retro Blood. I posted some of the pictures that me and Alison went to the AEW Dynamite special New Year's episode in Asheville, North Carolina, Fight for the Fallen. And I just want to talk a little bit about that, and maybe just a little bit about the Asheville pro wrestling history. So, because I thought that was really fun, because when me and Alison went to the show, you're waiting there and everything, waiting for some of the matches to get going. We have some pretty good seats, and I was just interested. I was like, because you said you've been to wrestling in Asheville before. You said you went to that like a WWE house show. But I was like,
I've been to a couple of times.
I was like, fucking like, is that it? Like, what else has come here before? And we popped up the list. And I was surprised about some of the matches and like the shows that actually happened in Asheville. Like, cause Asheville's like, it's not like some like big city or anything. I'd say it's like one of those like kind of like mid cities, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's larger now than it's ever been, obviously, but it's probably 80,000 people.
Yeah.
But it was much smaller when wrestling has always been hot in Asheville.
Yeah.
I don't know why they stopped coming here. Well, I know why, because the venue's small. And they don't want to have an 8,000 seat venue. They want 10, 12, 15,000 people. But there's a lot of benefit to having small crowds, as you found out when you saw the show.
Yeah.
But Asheville has always been a really hot wrestling town. Wrestling's always done well here. And it was cool for them to bring Dynamite to Asheville. I think it should become like how they do a homecoming show at Daly's Place or whatever. They should do Asheville once a year. Do a Dynamite or a Collision in Asheville once a year to, just to come back.
Yeah.
After this benefit show they did. But yeah, there's been a lot of like big shows here. Back all the way back into the 80s. Jim Crockett ran here a lot. The Clash of the Champions 12 was in Asheville.
Yeah, which is really cool. Like one of those TV specials.
Yeah.
They're like basically like pay-per-views. What Battle of the Belt should have been, pretty much.
Yeah, it's what Battle of the Belts I thought was going to be, but it turned out to be not that. That had a main event of I guess it had a double main event because you had, for the United States heavyweight title, you had Lex Luger, champion, who beat Ric Flair. And then for the world heavyweight title match, you had Sting, who was the champion, who defeated the Black Scorpion.
Oh, there you go. The Black Scorpion.
Yeah.
AKA Ric Flair.
Apparently it wasn't that night.
Oh, okay. It was when they were still doing it.
I was confused by that because, yes, I think of the Black Scorpion as Ric Flair. So did Ric Flair wrestle two matches in a row? But when I click on it, it says Black Scorpion was Al Perez.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, they probably, people, different people wrestled under the Black, moniker, but, it was revealed at the end that it was Ric Flair all along, which probably, it doesn't mean he wrestled as him all the time.
Right, exactly. They just had him, they would be easy for them to have somebody else wrestle in that place because they wouldn't have to, get Rick to go to every single show.
Yeah.
But there was also, what was it? 95. There was a War Games match there.
Yeah. That's the one we were talking about, which
I
could not believe because of the size of the venue, put in like a double ring, double cage in there.
Yeah. I mean, it must have taken up the entire floor.
I know.
But yeah, I mean, that one had Hulk Hogan in it. Like, just to think that Hulk Hogan was wrestled in that building.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's insane. It's just insane to think about to me. But I think that was 1995.
Yeah.
Which I'd wish I'd gone to that. Like, I wasn't back into wrestling yet, but man, I would love to have seen that.
Maybe one of these days we can do that show like on long form for the lights out. That'd be kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, that was Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Lex Luger, and Sting versus the Dungeon of Doom, which was Kamala, Zodiac, Shark, and Ming.
I mean, come on now. That is like 95 WCW gold right there, brother, with the Dungeon of Doom.
Oh, yeah.
Don't call me Shark. You know what I mean? You got the fucking...
Shark was Earthquake,
Zodiac?
Right?
Yeah, it was Earthquake, yeah. You got Zodiac.
Zodiac was...
Brutus Beefcake.
Brutus Beefcake. I love that Zodiac character. Yeah. That was awesome.
You got fucking Kevin Sullivan, the Taskmaster.
Yeah.
You got the Mummy and the Giant humping Hulk Hogan that same year. I mean, come on.
Yep.
Great shit, man.
Fantastic.
God. Yeah.
But what did you think of the show we went to, though?
So, it was my first time.
Classic as well?
I liked the show. I would say it was a classic. Yeah. You know what I mean? But there was stuff on the show that I did like, so
right. Yeah.
It's my first time at this venue. I've been to venues like similar to this before. I remember going to a TNA Slammiversary in Arlington that the building was about the same size as this building in Asheville was.
Yeah.
And I remember going to the NXT takeover in Dallas, 2016, I believe it was. And they did that show, that takeover at the convention center in Dallas.
Yeah.
And that was probably like the same size as this building too.
Yeah.
Maybe a little smaller, actually. That NXT might have been a little smaller. But yeah, we were talking about this, but I really like the smaller venues. You know what I mean? Like the more compact venues. You know, you just get more out of the action. You get more.
Well,
it's louder.
I mean, you're closer.
Yeah, you're closer.
The crowd is louder.
Yeah.
And you could just tell. Like, you could tell, like, at the end when FTR were looking out at the crowd, you could tell they could hear it. Like, it was just
definitely
loud.
Yeah.
It was fucking loud.
Yeah.
Quick question before we talk about the show. Did you try to rewatch it on Max by chance?
Oh, I haven't yet. No. I've been busy. Shoot.
All right, I figured. I tried to rewatch it when I got home last night or the Wednesday night, and I could only find the Spanish version on replay.
Oh yeah, nice. It's probably
I
up
can't
now.
find it in English.
Yeah.
So maybe it's up now, but yeah.
I'm pretty sure we're on camera. I'm pretty sure because when we had Cope.
Yeah.
Cope man. The formerly known as Adam Copeland, Cope. Is now when he was fighting Moxley out there in the crowd, we were like pretty close to that. So
cool, they were like right in front of us, and it was kind of cool after the show where Cope, as he's called now, said that if we see him on the street, we should just walk up and we'll have a cup of coffee. So I'm going to take him up on that.
I don't know about that. You know what I mean? I mean, have you seen some of these fans? Oh, I don't know if I would have said that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hey, Cope. You like cream with your coffee, brother? Like, what am I supposed to ask him when you want coffee? Do you want a double shot? And then, like, you know, me, I'd probably just be a nerd. It's like, you know, hey, Cope, what's happening? I got you your favorite coffee, a whipped vanilla shake caramel frappe. All right, so we're going to sit down and drink it, and you're going to tell me every second of how you won the world belt. For SmackDown from 2006, you know, just come out the most detailed shit. Like, get out of here.
That he doesn't even remember.
Doesn't even remember, yeah. So, but I'd say, you know, he seemed like a cool guy. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure if you say hi or what's up, you know, in the streets or whatever, he'll say hi back and give you a little bit of a conversation. But if you start doing nerd shit to him, he's just like, I don't remember that shit. All right? Even though I do want to ask him how he got hooked up with Vikings. That's actually a story I would like to hear. But
oh yeah, I forgot he's on that show.
Yeah, towards the end, he was like towards like the last couple seasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I thought the show was pretty fun. The Hangman Orange Cassidy match is pretty good, I would say. You know, but
yeah.
The thing about like me and you, like we are kind of spoiled a little bit because we've been to so many wrestling shows that, you know, we've seen like all-star matches. I mean, we were at the Revolution in Greensboro, which probably had like two of the most spectacular matches, you know, I've ever seen live, with the Will Ospreay and Kenosha Takecha. And then Sting and the Young Bucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then, you know, I saw those takeovers and stuff. So, you know, this is just like a basic, you know, TV match shows. But I thought they did pretty good. You know, I like the Hurt Syndicate match where they're just beating those Acclaim guys up. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, going out there doing their thing. The Mercedes promo was just kind of random. They were like, hey, it's like, it's such a weird thing with that show coming out. It's probably dropped already, you know, by the time we released this recording, that Wrestle Dynasty show. Like, the AEW didn't really like promote it too much. It's kind of weird.
No, it's like how you were talking about, like, they don't really care about it. But I don't know. We'll see. I think it's going to be a canon show. I think it'll be part of history. But I thought it was weird how they flew Okada all the way to Asheville but didn't use him.
Yeah, like, so
he was clearly there. Yeah, because he was clearly there because the video they showed that they shot earlier in the day was him walking past the curtain right behind where we were sitting.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, he just walked around where we're sitting, and then he did a promo about beating Will Ospreay and becoming the best tournament wrestler. And then he did a promo about Kenny. So, but he didn't show up at all. Not even for like a dark segment or anything. So very interesting.
Nothing.
So maybe he's gonna be on that Charlotte show. I guess I don't know. So I probably my favorite thing of the night was probably the triple threat. With Swerve and
was good,
Roderick Strong, and then Jay White. And then you had that Ricochet come out. And I didn't even see him come out. Did you see him come out of the crowd?
No, I don't know where he came from. He was all of a sudden just standing
But he was right in front of us.
Yeah, he was right in front of us.
Like, not right in front of us, but like right in front of our eye view where we could see him. And he just appeared and, knocked Swerve with those scissors, which I couldn't even tell what they were, because, obviously, you can only see it on the screen a little bit. But he hit him with some golden scissors and everything. And bloodied them all up. And I thought that whole piece of business was pretty good. I enjoyed that. And then, of course, the main event was fun. Very fun. I would say the rated FTR. You know what I mean? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, we're doing this match. And yes, it is part of the storyline. But we know who's going to win. You know what I mean? Because it's a charity event. They're the hometown heroes. You know what I mean? So, but I thought it was fun. I thought that whole match was very fun. Apparently, like some of the they missed the Spears spot on the camera when they were doing the showing it live to the camera. That's what I heard. But I saw that right there in the front. I thought that was a pretty good, cool spot. People going crazy. So very fun show.
Yeah, I liked it. I'm glad we went to that. That would have sucked if we'd missed it. We couldn't have missed it.
Oh yeah, that's our home. Definitely no. So, it's pretty cool. They were saying after the show too, which I did take a recording of. All right, so I'll probably post it on YouTube or whatever. I'll let everybody know. You could find I think they already released the big version of it, but it's basically FTR and Edge thanking the crowd. Like you said, Edge says, "Hey, you guys can stop me for a coffee." Dax was going on about how his wife demanded he stay here, and Cash didn't really say anything, but it was basically, Cash was was pretty much the man who kind of like formed this whole bond with everybody in Asheville.
Yes.
Because, Cash was working at that Gold's Gym and he was a wrestler, and Edge was working out that Gold's Gym, and Cash didn't want him to know that he was a wrestler until somebody told Edge. And then Edge got footage from Cash and he was all like, "Oh shit, this guy's actually like good." You know what I mean? He's not like one of these like, independent guys who are just like out there, just doesn't get the business or nothing. He's like, this guy is pretty solid. And that's pretty much how Edge helped Cash get a job with the WWE. And then I think it was Dusty who put Dax and Cash together. So it all worked out for them. It's crazy.
Because Dax is from North Carolina, but he's from the coast.
Yeah.
Cash is actually from here.
Yeah, I believe Cash was... I'm not sure if he was born here or not, but I definitely know he's lived here longer than both Edge and Dax. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, so apparently my understanding is he befriended Edge at the gym, but didn't tell him he was a wrestler until somebody told him that he was.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And that's how... And then like I just said, Edge got the tape. And you get tapes from wrestlers, you watch him like, okay, he's an indie guy. But apparently Edge was like, oh shit, this guy can wrestle, which we, obviously we see every week.
Obviously,
the guy can fucking wrestle, so. But everybody, great show. We all loved it. Check it out. Like I said, Retro Blood, we live the gimmick out here, brother. We go to the shows. We go to the wrestling shows. We go to the metal shows. And we go to the horror shows, too. Even new horror, like Nosferatu.
I
talked about
it yet, but
fucking great.
I need to.
So, but what do we have going on when it comes to the metal music? We'll keep that in canon of 1982.
Yeah, right? It's 1982, brother.
So I found this band.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
You talk. You start, and I'll talk about it.
I'll give it to you because you know more about them. I found this band. What is it called? Pagan Altar.
Pagan Altar.
So, I was looking for something, to talk about. You know what I mean, for the metal stuff. Mm-hmm. And technically, this album didn't really come out until December, but they caught my eye, so I was like, "Fuck it, we're just gonna talk about them," because this is really strange because I listened to their song that was self-titled, okay,
and
it comes off their Judgment of the Dead album,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yep.
I'm semi confused about the album because some of it says
I'll
it came
explain
out
it to you.
and some of it came out in 1982, but then some of it says it comes out in 1984.
Yes.
So I'm not really sure about that. But before you go on, maybe give us some history about them. This band's very interesting because they seem like a satanic Black Sabbath. Like,
Kind of, yeah. I mean,
you know what I mean?
like some of their stuff is sort of satanic,
Yeah.
but they're more like just um,
They kind
you
of
know, like a a heathen
yeah,
pagan
heathen.
type band.
Yeah, yeah, like one of those heathen bands. Like well, I can't even think of some of them right now. Some of the stuff you would hear like on Vikings a little bit. Maybe not as tribal as them, but like very, atmospheric style metal, pagan style music. And I was like, I'm into that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I like it.
Sure.
And like I was listening, I was like, oh shit, like this for the time was like, oh wow, like you don't really hear a lot of that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't really think of anything that sounded like this in 1982. It
Plus-
almost sounded old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it almost sounded like it should have come out in like 1975.
Yeah.
Even then, but they're a really unusual band. They're from England, and they were formed by father and son, actually, which I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the age difference is. But the father was the singer and the son was the guitar player, and they wrote all the songs. Terry Jones and Alan Jones. Terry Jones was the singer, and his son Alan was the guitar player. So they actually formed in like the late 70s. They're like a new wave of British heavy metal era band, but they didn't get big or they didn't get famous at all, really. But especially during the new wave British heavy metal era, they were playing doom metal, which was different than what all the other new wave bands sounded like. But it's doom metal, but it has a really fast guitar solos, which is why I like it.
Yeah.
This band is like, they're super obscure. Like they're the obscurest of the obscure. Like until a few years ago, almost nobody had ever heard of this band. Because they came out and they released a single, and then they released that Judgment of the Dead album in 1982, and then they kind of broke up, and they got back together in like 2004. And then they started making music again. But they have a really weird history because they played shows and they were pretty popular around the southeast of England for their live shows, but then they just kind of disappeared. And nobody heard about them again for like 20, 30 years, 25 years, something like that. But their music was widely bootlegged for a long time. And then when they got back together, they brought the tapes back and then they remastered their old music and put it out again, which is how most people have heard it. But yeah, it's really odd because they were like one of those bands. Like, I mean, as good as this band is, they would have been, if it hadn't been for the internet, as much as we, complain about the internet these days and all the damage it does, if it hadn't been for the internet, there would have been nobody that had ever heard of this band. This great band would have disappeared into history and nobody would have ever heard about them. But I haven't heard any of their newer music. I've only ever heard Judgment of the Dead.
Oh, okay.
But I love this album. I mean, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, and apparently they did release a couple other ones. You know what I mean? Past that. They had because the Judgment of the Dead seemed to be their first one. Then they had the Time Lord. Lords of Hypocrisy. Yeah.
But that wasn't until like the 2000s though, was it?
So actually, the Time Lord says 2004.
Yeah.
And then Lords of Hypocrisy was 2004. Yeah. So a lot of it happened around I said like back in 2000s. They did do a couple like singles like in 1998 titled Volume 1. All right. So they did do a couple of that, but like full length albums, they didn't come back until they did some
yeah, but Volume 1, if my understanding, is a bootleg.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's official release, but it's like their original demo that they recorded in like the early 80s.
Yeah.
That was released as Volume 1. And then they released I think crap, what's the album we just talked about? Judgment of the Dead.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that actually was recorded in 1982, but didn't come out till like quite a bit later.
Yeah.
But it's really strange because their website has an article on it, but it doesn't really tell a lot of details about what they were doing.
Yeah.
So it makes me think that they just for money reasons, they just couldn't continue the band anymore, and they just kind of gave up and got jobs.
Yeah.
That's what I got out of it. But yeah, they're like a super obscure band. Like Pentagram was the most obscure band that I knew of before I discovered Pagan Altar. But Pagan Altar is like a band that would have been, if it hadn't been for the internet, nobody would have ever heard of
nothing.
Band.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the vocalist has passed away.
Terry Jones.
Actually 10 years ago. Yeah,
he died of cancer 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder though, like how many just fantastic fucking bands are out there playing or have been out there playing that nobody's ever heard of.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because you always think of like, well, if a band's good, they're going to get famous, but that's not always the case.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, like especially during this particular time, because. Getting your stuff out there in 1982 and the 80s and stuff was basically, going, playing out shows, word of mouth, you know what I mean? Or having a cool design to pick up at the record store, if you can even get your record in the record store. So
right, exactly.
And also too, so the Pagan Altar, the song Pagan Altar actually came out in 1982. Okay, now that I'm looking at it. So basically, they had a demo track with a couple songs. So basically what it was, they had a couple songs that they put on a demo, okay? I believe Black Mass is one of them as well, too. So they had the demo going around for a little bit, and then in 1984, that's when they finished the whole album and got the whole album, finished that way with some extra songs on there. So that's why even if you go to the Apple Music, you can see what songs came out in 1982 on that demo and which ones they finished in 1984. So pretty cool.
Okay.
I like this album cover. It's so simple, but it looks fucking cool. You know what I mean? It's like
sometimes that's the best.
Yeah, it's like two skulls, a mirror, some guy in the front of the mirror or whatever. Looks all cool, dark as shit. Some druid in the background. Like it just for me for like 1982. Like you don't really see that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like obviously we see that a little later on when we see like Venom and shit like that. But super early on into the 80s and stuff, you didn't really see like kind of like that dark imagery, for people going for that way. You know what I mean? I know Black Sabbath was probably like the dark imagery band, I'm assuming, for the 70s and early 80s. But, it's cool to see like some underground bands like go even darker with that particular sound. So, cool stuff, man. Yeah. But like you're saying, man, that's true. Like, if it wasn't for like the internet or like the knowledge of this stuff, like like Pagan Altar, like they're on Apple Music. You know what I mean? Like what the fuck? Like this is so random. You know what I mean? So,
but yeah, I'm glad you discovered that because I had I'm not forgotten about them, but I wasn't really thinking about Pagan Altar until you brought it up. I'm like, oh yeah, Pagan Altar was a great band.
Yeah,
fantastic.
So. Very fun. I didn't know when we were going to talk about them again, so I wanted to bring it up. But everybody check it out. You can actually find their album on Apple Music if y'all do Apple Music or not. Judgment of the Dead. But we will play some at the end of this episode as well.
Or you can actually buy it if you want to do such things and have and own physical copies.
Oh, they sell that shit?
Oh, yeah. You can buy it off the Amazon.
Oh, okay. There you go.
On vinyl.
There you go. Get that vinyl, brother. Get that receiver thing working. All right.
Fantastic.
So, speaking of getting technology working, let's talk about who booked this shit.
Yeah, who booked this shit?
Murder by Phone, also known as Bells.
Bells.
Just imagine calling your movie Bells.
Like
is the phone bell? I guess like South
that's
Bell.
What I was wondering. Murder by phone makes a much more sense than bells.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what would you even?
There's not even a bell in there. There's like a phone bell, a phone bill.
Well, yeah,
no,
I mean the bell from the phone ringing, I guess. But but how would you even sell that? Like, if you went to the theater and there was bells, like you don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
Murder by phone, that at least gives you an image in your mind.
Exactly. Well, what about The Calling? The Calling brother.
I see that, but I don't like that name either.
Yeah, Murder by Phone is a great name.
So apparently, so we watched the version. The version I watched was titled Bells when I watched it.
Well, mine was Bells / Murder by Phone.
Oh, was it? Okay. Yeah. Apparently the Bells version is 20 minutes longer than Murder by Phone.
Oh, okay.
So I guess we saw the long version.
Yeah, I'm guessing we did too. Yeah, because there was an alternative stuff we'll get into.
Okay.
So this film was directed by Michael Anderson.
Yes, he's made a bunch of good movies.
He is an English film television director. Nearly 50 years working in the industry, brother. He did Logan's Run.
Great movie.
He's done...
He did the Dam Busters.
Dam Busters.
Yeah, in the 50s. That's a great World War II movie. And I actually like his that movie Around the World in 80 Days, which he directed. It's kind of a silly little film, but I like it a lot.
So before
he made Murder by Phone.
Yeah, he made Murder by Phone. Yeah, he did the Martin Chronicles TV before he did Murder by Phone. So yeah, it looks like he's done it. I guess like this would be like one of his only horror ones. I'm guessing.
Looks like it. Yeah, it's a really unusual movie for him to make.
The Naked Edge. There you go, brother.
He directed Orca. That's a horror movie.
Orca, yeah.
It's like Jaws, but it's about a killer whale.
There you go. The Sea Wolf. All right.
Sea Wolf. That's a good film. He made Doc Savage, Man of Bronze. That's a good movie.
Yeah.
This guy's made a bunch of good movies.
Yeah, a bunch of good stuff. So, let's see. So Murder by Phone was filmed in 1980 in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, brother. There you go. Mm-hmm. Canada's wild, man. Like, you know. So it was known as Bells and was picked up for distribution by Roger Corman's New World Pictures. Oh, he's back. Roger Corman.
Roger Corman.
The score by John Barry is electrical, played entirely with synthesizers. This was a rarity for Barry, apparently. Yeah.
John Barry is a really good composer. I'm actually a huge fan of his soundtracks. This is really unusual for him. He did most of the really early James Bond movies. Actually, he did most of the soundtrack for the James Bond movies. He also did Zulu. I'm trying to think of something else. There's another soundtrack that he did that I really like. What is it? King Kong. Yes, he did. He directed he wrote the score for the 1976 King Kong, which is a soundtrack that I like. So this was like this movie had a lot going for me starting it because I like Anderson's movies. Yeah. I like John Barry's scores.
Yeah.
I like Richard Chamberlain and I like John Houseman. And he's in this movie too. So this had a lot going for me. So this movie would have had to been really bad for me not to like it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll put it that way.
Had a lot of good people in there. So apparently the Bells thing, I guess that was the name of the movie in the UK. So that's what it was. Because you remember the UK at this time, they don't like all that horror murder stuff. Remember? They was like banning everything.
Yeah, right.
So we also have John Houseman did his own stunts. Okay. So that's I got some trivia on there. Let's see. So some stuff about it. We have Lenore Zann and Neil Affleck were both in Visiting Hours. I guess it's 1982.
Yep.
John Houseman was in The Fog, the 1980 original. Mm-hmm. And Sarah Bosford was in the remake of The Fog, 2005. So I guess they were in this.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
We have, let's see. Yeah, not too much about this film on here. This is just some little facts about the movie of who was in it and stuff and what they went on to be. Here we go. So the alternative version that you were talking about. So Murder by Phone is the title of the basically Murder by Phone was the U.S. release. So when we would have saw it in Shoot Brother on October 9th, 1982, we would have saw it as Murder by Phone.
Yes.
But, obviously the original title when it was filmed, I guess, in Canada and the UK was The Bells. And that runs an additional 20 minutes. But it doesn't really tell me what 20 minutes was additional. Maybe it was our boy Nate getting a phone call at the end by some publisher wanting to give him some money, but he's too focused on some sex. Maybe that was the extra 20 minutes that we got.
Maybe, yeah.
So, let's see how this thing did. Let's see here. Okay, so, well, Murder by Phone was apparently there is a VHS of it somewhere out there because it was released on VHS by Warner Home Video in 1984.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the version we saw came straight from VHS.
So check this out. There is some history of this movie being part of a book.
Kind of, yes.
The movie was preceded by a novel called Phone Call, written by the screenwriter Michael Butler and Dennis Saryak. Saryak? That's a very interesting. Saryak. That's a fucking weird last name. By author John Messman. It was published in 1979, 3 years before the film version. It was never credited in the film's credits. The link was mentioned on the cover in a later edition of the book. So basically, it was a, we might have took some ideas from this, but
but it's not officially based on the book, though.
Yeah. So, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, I mean, like you're saying, we got some, the cast is pretty cool. So Richard Chamberlain, he was the guy who was our main dude, Nat, on here. Mm-hmm. Apparently he's been in a lot of shit. He was in that Shogun miniseries. All right. Some good old stuff on there. What do you remember him mostly from?
What, Richard Chamberlain?
Yeah.
Shogun.
Oh, okay. That's the biggest one you remember him from? Yeah,
I mean, he was also he was like the king of the TV miniseries.
Gotcha.
In the 80s. Like, I remember being a kid and like it seemed like there was always a miniseries on with Richard Chamberlain in it. But he was also in the Thornbirds, which I've never seen.
Yeah.
But I loved Shogun when I was a kid. I remember, like, I couldn't have been more than like 5 years old or something. I remember that being on. And they just don't do shit like that anymore because basically it's like 10 hours long or something. And it was like 2 hours a night, Monday through Friday for a whole week. And like now that they would never do anything like that now. Well, now you have streaming, so you don't do shit like that. But it was like one of the most watched television events of its time. And like people would just go home and watch Shogun for 2 hours and then talk about it at work the next day and then go back and watch part 2 the next night. But if you've never seen the original Shogun, they remade it last year on FX. But if you've never seen it, it's a fantastic movie.
I saw the remake. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, the remake is great too. The original is also very good. I mean, it is like 10 hours long, but it's worth it. So that's who I know Richard Chamberlain from mostly.
Yeah, apparently in the 2000s he did an episode of Nip Tuck.
Okay.
He was on Desperate Housewives. Mm-hmm. Twin Peaks. I was like, really? Damn. Yeah, he was in the 2017 Twin Peaks. He played Bill Kennedy in episode part 4.
Okay.
So, maybe it was the beard. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
He had that nice 80s beard. That nice 80s hairy man's chest.
Yeah.
Got some ass in the film. I thought he did pretty good. You know what I mean? Yeah. Did you want to say anything else about any of the cast?
No, I mean, I was just going to say that we talked about John Houseman, who was in The Fog.
Yeah.
And we talked about Richard Chamberlain. Those are the big two names that I was drawn to when I heard about this.
So, but yeah, I mean, not a whole lot of stuff like written about the movie behind the scenes and stuff. Like I said, it's kind of like, it seems like one of those movies that kind of like just went under the radar. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just not a whole lot like published about it. But I actually thought it was, for the gimmick they were trying to portray, I actually thought it was pretty entertaining. So, and I did too. I did like the actor who also played the lieutenant, Mira. Gary. His name is Gary Winnicle. He was an actor based in Canada. So of course. I thought he did pretty good in the film too. So cool stuff over here. But everybody, let's get this 2025 started off hot. And let's talk all about murder by phone.
Let's do it.
Science has created the ultimate instrument of death, your phone.
there will be 1.4 trillion phones in the world.
Hi.
You could send a thing like that down the line?
Hey, are you weird or what?
Sounds pretty off the wall to me. I mean, a telephone killing people.
I've told you nothing but facts, Stanley.
If there was anything going on, I'd be the first to know about it.
You're telling me that a telephone killed the girl? I'll call you. Ring once, hang up, and then ring again.
Oh, somebody call the cops! This guy's crazy! Call the cops!
A madman pushes a button and kills by phone. Would you answer murder by phone?
All right. So we turn on the YouTube, because that's the only place we could find the movie.
Yeah.
And boy, is it grainy. But I appreciated that. You know what I mean? You know,
It's
nowadays...
like watching VHS.
Yeah. It's like, you know, nowadays when we stream all those movies or watch it on our 4K steelbooks, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's all nice and crisp and stuff. This shit was raw, brother.
Raw. It's the way horror
You know what I mean?
should be.
Fucking just raw, like grainy and shit. And I was like, yeah, let's go.
You know what I really wish they would do is like especially every classic horror movie, but even maybe new horror movies. Like they're like when they put out the Blu-ray like that, there should be a feature in the special features part where you could watch it like this.
Yeah, watch it on the VHS version or something.
Yeah, like there's a VHS version where it's like, you know, it's like cut off on the sides in 4:3, and then you can watch it on VHS. That'd be cool.
You know, they did that with some movies and stuff, but like, you know, like I say, not really like the classics or nothing. Like, not the ones that were actually filmed like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're all upscale 4K now, brother. All
well,
right?
so technically they were filmed like we watch them now.
Yeah.
But you only have the ability to watch them in the VHS versions.
Yeah, exactly. So we're at a train station, right? And these punk kids knock some old man down.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And we see a girl there, blonde, checking on the old man.
Yep.
We're going to find out her name's going to be Sandra. All right. And we basically hear a phone ring at the train station. And then, like, the girl answers the phone. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we hear a dial tone for a little bit. Okay. And then she starts shaking. Okay. And there's like blood coming out of her face and shit. And then 80s lightning blows up.
Sorry. I can't keep a straight face. Yeah, and then she like flies backwards.
I will admit something. Like the stunt work of them, like everybody who like blows up.
Yeah.
And like gets like ricocheted into objects is pretty funny. Like she got blown up into the escalator, which probably sucked. But I was like,
yeah. I mean, it's like really.
I don't know if we needed them. I don't know if we needed them to blow up though.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Maybe they could just like have an aneurysm and die, but they had to blow up and fly backwards.
Well,
my question though, which I don't know, you won't know the answer to this, I'm sure. But my question is, so back in the day, did people answer ringing payphones?
Yeah, man, all the time.
Like if phone was ringing,
you might win a prize or something.
Like she just randomly answers his payphone for no reason.
The phone rings. Come on, man. You gotta stop the ringing. It's kind of like one of those things. It's kind of like those, like, oh, you know, this phone's ringing, man. We gotta, you know, I gotta answer it. That's what it's there. That's what it's made for.
That's what it's made for.
Somebody's trying to get a hold of me in the crowd.
I guess so.
But well, you know, I would never answer the damn payphone in the crowd. But Sandra, she was like, you know what? Maybe somebody wants to get a hold of me. Okay. So my question is, so when we do the electric current and blow up our victims, I like it how they just like fly into things and their bodies don't actually explode into pieces.
No, they don't.
Because we don't have the budget to explode bodies, but we'll definitely make them fly across the room.
Yes. That's fantastic.
Oh God, it was hilarious. All right, so she's dead, and then we basically see this old lady watching the whole thing happen. Okay? So this is when we meet Nat, which I totally was calling him Matt for half my notes until I figured out that wasn't his name. Sounds, Matt Nat sounds
well, I was confused too, because I was like, I didn't figure it out actually until the end of the movie. Like, maybe I'm the idiot here, but like I was pretty sure they were calling him Matt for the whole movie. No. And then
yeah, me either. Until I saw his name.
And then at the end of the movie, he was like, he's like, I need to speak to Nat Bridger. And then this is Nat Bridger. Like, who the fuck is Nat Bridger?
Who's the fucking Nat Bridger? There he is, brother.
But anyway, we figured it out finally.
So Nat's on the phone going. He doesn't want to do this conference. So Nat, he is
he's a college professor.
He's a college professor, environmental guy. Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah, his environmental.
Maybe back in the day they were like cool superheroes or whatever, but like nowadays, like if you hear a college environmental professor, you're like, oh, he's gonna be creepy. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it's people like this that made environmentalists look bad.
Well, I thought Nat was okay. He had a nice hairy '80s chest. He banged a chick. What's wrong with him?
There's absolutely.
I think there's other people that made him look bad besides him.
Oh, okay, good point.
So he doesn't want to do his little conference. He goes into his school teaching grounds. Yeah. All right, he's teaching some science to kids, and his big thing is like, I'm going to show these kids how to control their machines. Mm-hmm. I'm like, brother, just you wait till 2025. These fucking kids don't know how to control nothing. All right, unless you count TikTok videos and clout chasing. That's all they know how to do. All right. So now, Nat is going by an old farmhouse because he is meeting the parents of the girl who died, Sandra. Okay? Mm-hmm. And the dad thinks there was some sort of shady stuff because basically the police report was that Sandra had a heart attack. But the dad... go ahead.
Sorry. She's literally bleeding from her face.
Yeah, brother.
Like, how do you bleed? A heart attack does not make
1982 heart attacks were different.
Okay, fair enough.
They had a little bit more meat in their bodies back in the day.
Okay, fair.
You know what I mean?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So obviously it was a cover up by the government.
Oh shit.
Of the phone systems. Okay. So the dad, I believe his name was Philip. He. Basically, they got the answer from the police saying it was a heart attack, and they don't want to do any more investigating. But Philip doesn't like that answer. So he asked Nat to kind of like look into it. Go get her stuff and look into it. Because Nat was, check this one out. Nat was like, oh man, Sandra, that was my favorite student. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, wait a minute. I've been watching all these 80s horror movies. And anytime a teacher has a favorite student, there's definitely fucking going on.
Oh, that's exactly what he meant.
Okay, so I'm like...
There's no way that's not the case.
Because you can't tell me different. I mean, all the shit that we watched, okay, they were all fucking the kids back in the day.
For sure.
Adult teenager kids, don't be dirty. All right, so Nat, he now is going to be going over there and doing some investigating because he's going to go pick up Sandra's luggage and he's going to start asking around some questions. All right. So now we have a guy named Gordon. He's answered the phone, and this guy named Gordon, somebody on the other end, told Gordon, "This should have been mine. You stole my idea." And then like this Gordon guy, this is actually my favorite kill. Okay. So he gets shocked, right? He's sitting down like in a chair, like we're all sitting down right now.
Right.
Yes, everybody. We don't stand up during Retro Blood. You'll see.
No, we sit down.
We sit down.
We have sense.
Yes. So he picked up the phone, right? And the guy was like, "You stole my shit." And he's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" So then he does like the killer phone gimmick to him. Yeah. He's like bleeding and stuff. And then when he blows out, he's like blows out, right? And he's like, he gets shocked with the chair. He's like still in the chair while he falls out the window.
Yes.
And he's still in the chair, like holding it. It was hilarious. And he's like, boo, and he falls down. I was like, this is hilarious. It kind of reminded me of that scene where that chick fell from that Child's Play that we did.
Yes.
But he was in a chair doing it, brother. He was trying to one-up her. Okay.
Yeah, he fell out the window in a chair. That was great.
So now Nat, he meets some old guy about his publication, and the old guy is his former mentor teacher, Stanley. Oh boy, we have now met Stanley. I guess so basically Stanley and Nat do the same kind of job. They're both like environmental experts, professors.
Yeah.
So Nat, he teaches the kids while Stanley goes and out there and basically is a consultant for big companies. Okay.
Yeah. So
and
they're taking the money.
Yeah, because he's taking the money. And that's basically kind of what they're talking about. So Stanley always liked Nat has a student, but he is getting on to him saying like, hey, you're wasting your talent teaching these kids. You should be, out there doing more seminars like me. So
yeah,
it's kind of like one of those like teacher relationships that they have. Sure. So they both say they're gonna go watch their seminars. And do you know what Stanley's seminar was about, Allison?
I don't remember.
It was about a dragon that bites its own tail.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah. So yeah. Well, didn't he say it was a serpent? But anyway, so what he's talking about though is
this a comic book seminar? Like, what are we doing? I thought he was an environmental guy.
No, I'll probably say this wrong, but what I thought he was talking, well, it is about the environment, but what I thought he was talking about, was what do you call it, the Ouroboros? Yeah,
yeah.
It's like a serpent, and it binds its own tail, and it represents infinity or like eternity or something like that.
Very good, brother.
Yeah, so that's what he's talking about, but they don't really explain what he means.
What do you think Stanley would have thought of AI?
I mean, he would have been like complaining about it, just like he's complaining about like us destroying the environment.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we already destroyed the environment. Now we're going to destroy everything.
Yeah, now you're going to give these computers, now they can create their own environment.
Exactly.
What the hell are you guys doing? All right, so now Nat, he leaves after he's watching this conference about Stanley talking to us about tails bitings. He goes and he's now talking to the people about Sandra, and they're basically giving him some shit about it because he's trying to collect the luggage. And the guy's like, "Are you a relative?" He's like, "No." He's like, "Well, okay." He's like, "I got paperwork from the relatives." He's like, "Okay, well, are you sure you're not a relative?" And I mean, well, who are you then? All right, and then eventually the guy just hangs up on him. He's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
All right, so now we have Nat meeting the lieutenant. What was his name? Mirka?
Isn't it Mira?
Mira.
Isn't it Mira, something like that.
I'm going to call him Mira because you know me, I fuck up with names. Mm-hmm. So this Mira guy, like he at first was like my favorite character. And then like he kind of treaded off towards the end. But he was great at the beginning. So Nat talks to him, right? Mm-hmm. Wanting to get Sandra's shit. He's like, yeah, the girl, she died of a heart attack. All right? And he's all like, is like, listen, Nat, don't waste my time, cowboy. There ain't nothing else to her besides having a heart attack. All right? And then like he's all like, and then Matt's like, okay, well, did anybody see it? He's like, listen, man, she died of a heart attack. Maybe some old bag out there saw her. That's about it. Uh-huh.
Wow. Yeah.
All right. And then the phone rings or whatever. Okay. All right. And then like Nat's like basically like, hey, I'm trying to get some more information about this, man. I'm not liking your attitude. He's like, listen, all right, I just think you're some geek off the streets, all right, that wants to make love to her shoes.
That's
I was
weird.
like, fuck yeah, brother. This guy's like killing all the lines here. I loved it. All right. All right. So then Nat's like, basically Nat leaves because he's like, okay, I'm not getting anywhere with this detective guy. Okay. So Nat is now, he's watching Stanley's seminar some more. He goes back. So a lot of times we'll see like parts of this movie where like there's just a lot of phone calls. Okay. So Charlie calls, Stanley's recording the Charlie call. They're going over some reports. Nat gets out. I guess he finally got Sandra things, so he's going over. He sees some money in a bag that doesn't really go anywhere. We see some shot of a tax office that we arrive at.
Yeah.
I guess there's like no proof of payment. This girl is being like kind of like an asshole to the guy that we can't see who's there, that we'll probably find out later who it is, the killer. There's no proof of payment. All right, and then the lady, the counter lady, her name is Anderson, tells the guy to basically go piss off. Okay.
Yeah, because they're basically like, I guess what I took out of this was that he's late on his tax payment.
Yeah.
And they're about to repossess his property or whatever.
Yeah. So the killer, basically, if somebody like offends him in a way, we're seeing, or does him like a little bit of wrong, that's when he does his killing by the phone.
Yeah, that's when he does the phone shit. Yeah, phone gimmick.
So now we have Stanley. All right. So now this is when Stanley was giving Nat the whole, like, you have all this influence on kids, but you should be getting more influences on corporations and stuff. That's where the money's at and everything. Then they talk a funny story about Mackenzie being naked, and then they're all friends now, and they said to keep in touch. Okay, gotcha. So now we're at the train station. Nat gets off. He's looking around. We see the old bag. All right. The old lady?
Yeah, the homeless lady. Yeah.
The old bag. You know what I mean? That's an insult in 1982 there, Alison. You didn't know
It is. It is absolutely an insult.
that old bag. She's asking for 25 cents.
Mm-hmm.
All right. He gives her the change. He asks about a girl. And she's like, yeah. So he got hit by lightning. She got hit by lightning. He's like, okay, no, I thought he had a phone attack. She's like, oh, yeah, nobody believes me. But she got hit by lightning and she blew away.
She blew away.
Right.
Well, she's not wrong.
It's not wrong. All right. And then he looks at the phone. He could tell, Nat can tell that the phone has been replaced. And then that old bag, and then my notes say the old bag bought some lipstick with his change.
With 25 cents.
Phone rings at this random house. Kid answers it, and it's that Anderson girl from the tax place. She tells her son, don't answer the phone, go do your chores and shit. She answers the phone, and then she gets shocked by 80s lightning and blows up into the kitchen counter stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
So good.
Still not as good as the chair one, but it was pretty good.
Yeah.
So now we have the cop. He's back. Mira. Answers the phone. All right. And then this is when Nat's like telling about the story about the old bag. He's like, I know about the old bag and her story about lightning and shit. Listen up, nature boy. All right.
Yeah.
Any lightning she saw, she came out of a bottle. This guy was fucking great.
Yeah. So I don't know where that term comes from, that nature boy term, but I'm guessing it's an insult.
Yeah, brother. I'm going to start doing that to you on here. Listen, nature boy. Don't give me all your hoopinatty about all those books you read. All right?
I'll definitely accept that.
That's a big insult back in the day, brother. Calling somebody nature
so.
boy.
Well, Ric Flair was nature boy.
Well, I know, but like,
So
I think he called him
like
nature boy because he's an environmental guy,
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Okay, this is another good one too. And these are like, all right, you need to go back to your soybean patch.
Soybean patch. It's like everything environmentalists are into, like nature and soybeans, and yeah.
Bro, this guy was on fire this first half of this episode, bro, or this movie. He was fucking great. And he just fizzled off, which pissed me off. All right, so now, so then he tells him basically, I don't know, your mystery girl died of a heart attack. Don't talk to me again. All right. So now Nat's looking at stuff again, that same shit, and now he could see that Sandra's one of her earrings was burnt.
Uh-oh. Maybe she was lightninged.
So Nat goes to the big building. I wrote my notes, which is pretty much the big building that we see here is basically this huge phone building. Okay. Like this building owns the most landlines in Toronto, wherever the fuck they were at. Okay. So Nat goes there and he's like, okay, I need to figure out about a phone repair. All right. And it's a public phone. It's already been repaired, but I want to talk to asking why it got repaired.
Yeah.
And the lady's like, well, I can't really give that information. Okay, well, let me talk to your supervisor. And he just kept saying that over and over.
Manager.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's being a Kent. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
Like the male version
like a Karen,
of a Karen.
yeah, exactly.
So while this is happening, though, a hot painter blonde who I'm still trying to figure out what her job was in this phone company catches his eye. Maybe it was the beard.
Maybe.
And her name is Taylor. Okay.
Mm.
And after Nat is he's just walking around waiting for the supervisor, he like talks down about Taylor's painting on the wall, saying the electrical currents on her chips are wrong. Because
I thought this whole conversation was weird.
Well, see, the problem is, Allison, we are not nerds. So when you get two nerds talking about nerd stuff, they flirt in a different way.
Exactly.
Okay? I've seen it with my own eyes before.
But I had no idea what was going on.
So basically she's like, listen, motherfucker, I put the current in the right place. Okay? And don't tell me I did. He's like, well, the science of the electrical current goes through this passageway and it can't go that way. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to fuck you now. See? That's basically how it was. Okay? That's basically what their conversation was. All right? Don't tell me it wasn't. I know it was.
That's essentially what happened. Yes. This is
so he leaves and she's like, you can already tell, like, okay, we're going to get some fucking there later. God, it must have been easy in the 80s. All right, so now, he goes and talks to the supervisor, okay? And the supervisor basically says, all you environmental people are always so paranoid. All right? But you still do good. Damn.
Perfect.
You know what? They are pretty paranoid. All right? So now Ned's like, okay, well, can I at least talk to the repair guy? He's like, no, I ain't doing that for you. Okay, he's like, all right. Well, Nat said, like, okay, I didn't want to do where I'm staying. He's like, okay, he's like, basically the supervisor won't give him any information at all. Won't help him. Won't let him know about, the repair guy and everything. So Nat thinks all this stuff is kind of weird. So when he leaves, he actually runs into that girl Taylor again. Okay, and he leaves into her, all right, and eventually they start like flirting with each other in nerd talk, and eventually they decide to have dinner at the Ballroom Biltmore Hotel at 9:00.
Yes.
Very easy. Allison, maybe that's what we're doing wrong. You know what I mean? Maybe we should go to our local AT&T phone company, complain about something in there, find some random chick who's doing wall art, make fun of it, take her to dinner, and give her some of that 80s kissing, brother.
Yep.
That's all you gotta do. All right, so now it goes back. Yeah, that's all you gotta do, man. We gotta make sure our chest is nice and hairy at the same time.
Oh, I got that covered.
Yeah, same here. So Nat goes back to the phone. All right. And so basically this is pretty clever. So he goes back to where that phone was, train station, and he calls up and he reports that there's a theft to the phone. Okay. And he puts the phone in the trash. So now, then we cut the scene and we have the same killer. Basically, he's trying to go into the bank, but this blonde girl says, hey, come back tomorrow. I'm having a party with some old guy. Okay. So the repair guy comes, all right, and he repairs the phone. And Nat starts talking to the guy about the phone repair and stuff. He's like, oh, yeah, you guys have this problem all the time. He's like, well, you should see the one that happened last time. The freaking receiver just blew up. And he's like, oh, it's like an electrical issue or something. He's like, no, it's like somebody took a blowtorch to it. All right. And Nat's like, oh, okay, that's weird. And then he eventually leaves. So Nat goes on his date. They talk some, I like my notes. They talk some high-tech stuff, but they flirt at the same time. All right. And then they talk about if basically, I guess, like, Nat's like, hey, you can't like, think everything could be told by science. And she's like, yes, I can. And then they go back and, the age-old argument, if science can prove everything, if not, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
That's a pretty good conversation to have, with somebody. You know what I mean?
True.
I would say. So now we have the girl that we saw from earlier from the bank teller. Her name is Connie, and she kisses this old guy, and I couldn't tell. Does she work at the bank? Is that her boss? I have no idea.
I wasn't sure.
But it doesn't really matter because she gets home, she skimps down into her 80s lingerie, gets a phone call, and she blows up in her lingerie. Not too bad. So Nat tells the date. Basically, Taylor girl is like, well, why phones can't kill you. Huh? That's something you bring up to it, So she thinks he's paranoid. And she just randomly brings up, hey, by the way, at this office building that I work at, that I just do paintings at, I actually have access to everything. You know what I mean? Just all these files and everything. I have access to all of them, even though I only paint.
Right.
What was her fucking
That's
job?
convenient, though.
She's,
I don't know. It is weird that she seems to be a painter, but she has access to all these files.
So I thought at first, you're the president's mistress? What the hell are you doing?
Maybe.
All right, so they leave the dinner table. This is a good one here. You like this one. So she wants a cab, right? And our boy Nat's like, you know what? Fuck it. I've been flirting with this bitch the whole night. He's like, hey, you want to share?
Ooh.
And she's all like,
I'm going the wrong way.
No,
I'm going a different way.
We're going different directions. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Ooh, shut down.
I'll get you later. Don't you worry. So Stanley, he's back, the old guy. He gets a phone call. It's from the local police, and basically the local police want to talk to Nat, okay? And Stanley, jokes that it could be parking tickets, but it's basically Tom from the police station telling him all the dirt on Mir, okay? And he's basically saying that this Mir guy, he was he did this trial, or he did this case that it was about a killer, and it was being covered up, I guess, by the mayor, and nobody believed at all. They believed it was just the killer on his own, but they didn't have the mayor didn't have anything to do with them. But Mir did, and he fought for it, and he got all these suspensions. He got all this stuff about it, written in the paper, degraded. But he's the only one that believed that this happened, and he actually uncovered the case that the mayor actually had some stuff to do with it. So that's the moral of the Mir guy. And now Nat knows all about that. So Nat goes and talks to Mir. Mir's like, oh man, how the hell can I get rid of you? A spray or a roll. That was his last good line, I guess. So Nat grabs him, and then Mir's like, listen, if I was an LA cop, I would shoot you right now. I was like, okay, where did that come from?
That's really strange. Yeah, I would just shoot you anyway.
All right. And he says, Nat's like, it's not a heart attack. It was an electrical shock. Just check all the other records we have on there. All right. And then Mir asks, okay, in a city of 4 million people, why do you think that? And then Nat's like, because I thought of it like you did when it comes to that mayor's case. Yeah, that's where I know your whole story. And then he gives us the whole story about the mayor's case. Okay.
Weird.
And then Nat's like, what happened to you since then? You become a pushover. All right. And then Mir's like, you're holding up the elevator. And in the back of my head, I was thinking, that's in a couple weeks. You'll find
the lift.
On the lift, brother. So now Nat talks to the science lady about the documents. Okay. The science lady is that Taylor girl. All right. And then they're going to documents. I like this line too. And Nat's like, it's like, okay, this is good information I need. And then she's all like, well, I don't think you're really understanding what I was offering. And now it's like, I know what you were offering. Ooh,
oof.
Damn. Must be that Canadian charm, brother. You know what I mean?
Guess so.
He's doing it. Doing all these good lines. So then they go over more paperwork. Okay. And they look at all these bags and photos. So basically, also too, while Nat and Taylor were hanging out, there was somebody following them taking photographs. Okay, keep all that in mind. So now Nat sees the guy taking photos of him. Okay, he grabs him. Okay, and the guy was like, "Oh, I'm just taking photos of that stuff." And then he sees that the badge, okay, is the same kind of badge that Taylor has, and it was also the same kind of badge that Nat was trying to replicate. Okay, and it basically Nat gets arrested for beating this photographer guy up, who was obviously a plant to spy on him. Okay. So now Nat's in jail, and he calls Stan from the police to get him out. And Stan's like, "Okay, I'm going to get you out." And I also talked to Fred, the president. All right. And I could see about us getting inside the phone office, and we can actually take a tour of the building. That's how we can get ourselves in. Okay, without, having to like sneak around. We can actually get in there and take a tour and then look around. So they take the tour of the building. Okay. And the guide, Clayton, which we'll find about him later, he shows us a bunch of landline system phones. He says these are not going away. Well, just you wait, brother.
Little do you know.
Just little do you know. All right, tells us. And then eventually during the tour, Nat tells Stan to cover for him. He's going to go wander off. Okay, and then eventually the Clayton tour guy asked Stan, like, "Hey, didn't you have somebody here?" He's like, "No." He's like, "Don't you know who I am? I'm Stanley. I'm a consultant for this place, and I know all the higher-ups on level 4. So he's trying to bigwig him.
Yeah.
So they finish up the rest of the tour while Nat grabs the lab coat, and now he's wandering through the building.
Now he's in disguise as a scientist.
Yes. So he goes into a building. He did see one of these scientist guys work on electrical current going through the phone line and it blowing up. And he's all like shocked by this. And the guy's like, "Okay, you from the recall team?" He's like, No, I'm just an observer coming around here. Then he leaves, and the guy that showed him the technology that could blow up stuff, he calls him like, kind of suspicious about this guy. So Nat goes all the way down to the recoil room. He goes in there. He tricks a cop for letting him in there. He gets inside because he left some papers. And he looks around and he sees 4 blown up phones with clothes on them and stuff.
Uh-oh.
And he's all like, "I knew it. There's a cover up going on over here." So eventually he leaves. And then eventually the Clayton guy finds him, the tour guy. And he basically escapes because they had to shut down the whole office building for only employees only because they have some guy snooping around. And Nat actually gets out of there because he dresses like one of the construction guys, and that's how he kind of sneaks out the back. Another thing, too, is we find out that Stanley, he also says that electrical energy can do things that fiber electricity can't, like ring a bell.
Interesting.
All right. So now Nat goes back to the Taylor girl, okay? And right when he gets there, he sees that she is now being basically fired, and all her stuff is being confiscated now because the guy who was taking photographs of her gave it all to the the police and everything, or the detective stuff, and they're basically firing her and taking all her stuff, okay? And they all leave. And now it's like, "Don't you see? They're scared." And she's like, "What are you talking about? They're scared. They're not scared. They run the world." I'm thinking, the phone company? God damn. 1980. Okay. And then he's all like, "Listen, I'm going to take
phone company."
Yeah. It's like the phone
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
The phone company?
The phone company runs the world? I was like,
What?
I guess. I mean,
Guess so.
Sure. I guess. Okay. And then he's all like, "This is my chance. I'm going to take you up on an offer to shut you up. I'm going to kiss you." And that's what he does.
No.
And then she's all like, "I'm not mad anymore." And then they start fucking, even though we don't see it. So that's how you do it, bro. Back in the 80s, you just you get a girl fired. You have her come with you on crazy 80s excursions. You know what I mean?
Guess
to
so.
to bring down corporate headquarters. You get fired from your job. You almost get arrested.
Yeah.
But
Right.
you kiss her and you fuck her and everything's okay.
Yeah. That's how you do it.
That's how you do it, brother. You know what
That's
I mean?
what I'm missing out on.
Yeah. I mean, God damn, what the hell's going on here? Okay? It's right here. The blueprint is right here.
Right?
Okay?
The blueprint's right here.
Okay.
I don't need to be on metalhead dating. I just need to do this.
Yeah, exactly. Go there. Go to the local AT&T headquarters. Tell some random chick her painting sucks. Talk to her about a bunch of nerd shit, and there you go. Get her
That's all you
fired.
gotta do.
Get her fired, and then fuck her.
I think that's the key. Is you got to get her fired.
Yeah, that's true. So so now they're done, right? They're all happy and everything. Everything's all happy. She's making some drinks after some sex. The phone rings. It's Stanley calling for Nat. Nat is in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing too, bro. You better get your shower game good.
I'm pretty good at the shower.
Because she was all loving him in the shower. She's like, yeah, brother. Look at all that hair. Wet hair. I like it. All right. So now Nat tells Stanley about the 4 phones that melted that he saw. Okay. And Stanley doesn't want to go to the press right away. He wants to confront the president. And he's going to do that tonight. And he didn't ask like, hey, you come in here? Okay. So Stanley finally gets a phone call. And it's by this guy named Fred. All right. And now Fred is basically saying to Stanley, it's like, hey, you know, this guy, Nat's been snooping around stuff. You were paid to watch him and tend him. And I'm like, what? He's doing like the worst job if he's trying to keep him at bay. You know what I mean? So apparently Stanley was in on it. Like he knows there's somebody within the phone corporation that's killing people. And they don't want anybody to know that. The phone company doesn't because they don't want some scandal on their hands. And they paid Stanley to keep Nat off track, even though he's been on the track the whole time. Like he knows what's fucking going on.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, is this Stanley guy the worst? Like he's smart, dude, but he doesn't know how to keep people like, hey, maybe you shouldn't look into this. You know what I mean? Like, he never even said that once. Okay.
No.
So he's like, all right. Then like he's going on saying like, he's like, well, he's gonna want to know a lot of questions and stuff if he knows I'm talking to you, and he's just out of control. I don't know what to do. All right. And then the guy's like, just get him back on track. All right. So Nat's flirting with the Taylor trick again. All right. So now, this is a weird conversation. So there's our talker, right? And out of nowhere, Taylor brings up a story about her stepdad punching her in the face. I'm like,
I thought this was really odd.
What is going on here?
And the way Nat handles it seems really odd too. Like he just handles it like that's perfectly normal.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, he got you right there. He's like,
well, yeah.
Right.
He's like, where did he punch you? Right here. Like maybe she doesn't want to talk about this. You fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Although she did bring it up.
Maybe she's one of those, you know, she likes it like, rough. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
That's probably what happened. Maybe that's the 20 minutes we didn't get to see. Okay. Of them rough fighting in there. So then after she just said her stepdad punched the shit out of her, then they start kissing. Okay. Yeah. So the phone rings. All right. And then it's Stan again. Okay. He's on the phone, but now it's the killer. All right. And the killer's like, you couldn't control your environment and you're getting too close. So then he starts to shock and blow away Stanley, and Stanley does take a good bump when he blew up.
Mm-hmm.
So now Nat and Taylor, they're asleep. Phone rings again. God damn. I mean, if I would have done a drinking contest of the phone ringing on here, you all would have been fucked.
Absolutely.
Cause god damn. We know the thing's called murder by phone, but god, that'd be 5 seconds. So the girl, Tyler answers the phone, gives it to Stanley. Oh, gives it to Nat, sorry. And then the guy says, the cop says Stanley's dead. Okay, goddamn lightning got him. Okay. So we have the cop mirror, all right? And, you know, he's just talking about like all this like weird, he's basically trying to corner, like now Mir is like fully on to finding this killer. Like he doesn't think it's heart attacks or any of this fake news that they've been hearing. Okay. He wants to go find this guy, and he's trying to narrow down like districts and everything where all the kills have happened at. Okay. And this is when they find out this is when Nat tells them like Stanley was a consultant with the phone company. All right. And they're like, okay, so now Nat and Mir have an idea to go to the president, okay, and talk about all this stuff that's going on. Okay. Mm-hmm. So now Nat and Mir, they go meet the president. Mir makes up some sort of tragedy accident to get inside that said the wife was in a car accident. They go talk to the president. The president said he explained everything to the commissioner. All right. It's like, you're not going to get anything out of me. Okay. And you're not going to go to the media, because if you go to the media and this explodes, 2 million people will die if the phone lines shut down.
I thought that was a really weird thing. But yes, 2 million people will die.
Yes. Because, cops and neighbors, they can't get a hold of each other through a landline phone. Okay. All right. And then he's basically saying, all this is being looked at and you guys need to leave. And then Nat's like, I don't like your attitude. So they leave. So now Nat tells Taylor she's going to be in danger. So if you hear the phone ring once, it's going to hang up and it's going to ring again. Then you can answer. And they start flirting some more. Nat goes to Stanley's house, and the toddler girl is basically just like, he's like just she meets the tour guy, basically. She meets the tour guy, all right? And the tour guy was asking a little bit about who's speaking tomorrow, and she said, "Oh, it's gonna be Nat. He's gonna be speaking tomorrow at a conference at the tower." Mm-hmm. So Nat is now going over Stanley's tapes. He's ripping up all the tapes. We have somebody looking up the phone book for 555-4320. No area codes at this particular time.
Well, not for local calls.
Yeah,
because you didn't have to dial them for a home phone.
Yeah,
if it was local.
It's local, yeah. So it calls a number. Taylor, she's in the shower. There you go, brother. Phone rings. All right. Like, she just answers it right away, even though she forgot the plan where the phone was supposed to answer, hang up, then call again. She didn't know. She just answered it into dead air. Mm-hmm. Then now she's waiting by the phone for Nat, the hairy Canadian man, to answer. Okay. So now we can see that there's two people are trying to call her, but eventually the killer is trying to call Taylor. Okay. And Nat's calling Taylor at the same time, but Nat gets through. Okay. And then he's like, hey, I looked over the Stanley's tapes and I think I heard this voice from somewhere. Okay. So they go over Stanley's tapes because remember, he recorded everything. Like all his phone conversations, he always recorded. Okay. So they're going over the tapes and now they figured out okay, Stanley was in on it the whole time. And the voice at the end, before Stanley died and got blow up, Taylor says, oh, that sounds just like the Clayton, the tour guy that I just met today. Then I told him where you're going to be at. All right. So now they're going to call the Mir to tell him what they found. And then they give him the home phone number.
Yeah.
So they find Clayton's address. Okay. And Nat's going to go to his address to look around. And Taylor says, well, don't do anything stupid. And Taylor is like, I got a PhD. There you go.
That's all we need to say.
Just drop my panties, brother. Just do it. Okay.
Got a PhD.
So Nat goes to the address. Taylor, she drinks at her own place. She's trying to get fucked up for later tonight, I guess.
Yeah.
She gets a call from Clayton, but she recognizes the voice and she throws the phone and it blows up. All right, and Nat's trying to call her.
It almost kills her.
Yeah, it almost kills her, right? Mm-hmm. Nat tries to call, but no answer. Nat goes to Taylor's. She meets so basically, Nat goes back to Taylor's place, and Mira's over there. And now we meet the police commissioner, and they're all now in on wanting to get this Clayton guy, because all they know, the police commissioner is basically like, I might have excused the president before doing some favors on him, but now that we have clear sign and evidence of this guy Clayton doing it, then we want to take him down by any means necessary. Okay. So they go talk to the president again. All right. And the police are now involved in this matter, so we have no more understanding. He says he wants to know where. So basically, they come up with this plan. Okay. Where Clayton already knows where Nat's going to be at. So he knows when to call him to do a phone call. And now Nat says, okay, well, can we do a electrical flashback? Can we revert the voltage back to him? All right. And they're going like, yeah. The president's like, yeah, I think we could do that. Might be kind of fishy, but you got to keep him on the phone long enough for us to revert the call back to him so we can send the voltage back to him.
Did he just think of this all of a sudden?
Well, he's an environmental electric genius out there. Okay.
I guess so, but I mean, like it's like.
He was too busy fucking. How was he supposed to think of this? He's like, brother,
okay,
I got a hot,
that's good point.
artsy.
I can't argue with that.
I got a hot blonde chick who's waiting to get it down and dirty. She just told me she likes to get beat up. Okay. Yeah. He's like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to like solve this shit. Okay. All right. Come on, brother. One thing at a time. All right. One thing at a time. All right. So I do like Clayton goes down to his hidden lair basement.
Yeah.
Because he has an old beat up house that we saw a little bit of. But all his good shit is down in the basement, brother. Just like every nerd has a nice good old basement now.
Lives in the basement.
So does Clayton. So Nat's doing his speech. Oh, wait till we get to his fucking speech. Clayton's getting ready. Everybody's getting ready, to do the reverting stuff. So Nat has Nat tells everybody, all right, I have Stanley's notes, but if Stanley was here, they would say all of his notes are bullshit. All right.
Yep.
The world's gonna die if you don't become wild out there. If you don't rise up and be crazy and blow up things, then the environment will never be okay if you don't blow it up.
Well, he wasn't wrong.
Yes, he wasn't wrong. All right. So now he gets a phone call. So he's like, "All right, babe, I'm leaving. I'll see you all later." I was like, "That was your fucking speech?"
That was it. And he like rips it in half, and then he's like, "Okay,
he
go."
Leaves. All right. So he was also going off about technology on the speech too. He's like, if you don't get ahead of the technology, it's gonna get ahead over you. I'm like, brother, it's already happened.
Yeah, it's already happened.
So he leaves. Okay. Mir said, like, okay, man, I will step in and do this. He doesn't know what my voice sounds like. He's like, don't worry about it. I got this. I'm trying to get laid, brother, again. So I got to be the hero. So Nat's about to take the call. Taylor's there because, she's all smitten.
Yeah.
Nat takes the call from Clayton. He calls Clayton, hey, you're a brilliant man. We're just trying to help you. And then, of course, Clayton's going on. He's like, I'm just trying to get rid of all the garbage. All right? All these people who do wrong. And I was just like, that bank teller, the blonde, what did she do wrong? Then let you into the bank?
No, she was the one that, wasn't she the one that was like,
kissing up on the old guy?
Him they were going to foreclose on his house or whatever?
I guess, yeah. So then Nat goes on, like, you have lost your way. Okay, you can't tell victims from bastards anymore. Okay? All right, and it's like, I know what you're trying to do, Nat. This is like some superhero, like super villain shit they got at the end.
It is.
He's like, I know what you're trying to do, Nat. You're trying to keep me on the line so you can get me, but you're not going to do that. And then Nat's like, oh, shit. So he throws the phone blows up, but before it happens, the revert guy saying, okay, we got channel 2, and then they revert the explosion back to channel 2, and this is when we get Clayton blowing up in his laboratory of doom. And he took a good bump. He did. He blew up and he hit his 1980s equipment. There were a bunch of wires and buttons everywhere, and then the shelf just fell on his ass.
Yep.
Okay.
The whole like shelving in it just falls right off.
And then the cops go to his house. So now the president, we cut back. This must have been like the extra 20 minutes. The president wants to bury all the incident. Okay. Mm-hmm. Tyler says she wants some changes around here. I'm like, aren't you the fucking painter? Like, what changes do you want?
Well, no, she wants her mural put back.
Okay, fine. Whatever, bitch. Put it back.
And then she wants to change part of the mural.
Okay, fine. Okay. What do? You just paint? Fuck.
I think so. Like, I think she was like hired. They don't say this, but I'm guessing she was like an artist that was hired to paint murals, and then she. Well,
what else do you want? What other changes you want around here? I
still don't know why she has access to any files.
What do you want? Like 1982 leather couches or something? What do you want? Yeah. Why does she even have access to files?
Right.
Anyway, and then Nat's like basically the president guy's like, listen, I ain't afraid of y'all. I got money, so he basically leaves. All right. Nat has a phone call, of course. It's from some sort of like publication guy that wants to have Matt work with him and take down other people. And Matt's like, I don't know. I got this blonde over here or whatever. And he's like, oh, it could be a good thing. And then like Taylor says something. I couldn't make it out. I think she said she was going to leave or something like that. And then Nat's like, I'll call you. And then we have creepy music happen for some reason. And I was like, that's the ending?
Right, like it has this weird, like, okay, so we just had, it's just so weird. Like the ending is so weird.
Very weird.
We had this movie where all these people get killed, but when they answer the phone, and it ends with Richard Chamberlain saying, I'll call you, and with a big smile on his face holding up a phone.
Yeah.
Weird.
So, and that ends Murder by Phone.
Yeah, this was surprisingly good.
It was good. I liked it.
Yeah, I would recommend everyone go to the YouTubes and watch this.
So yeah, check it out, everybody. So really good stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, very. Besides the weird, there's a couple little holes in the film, certain stuff. Yeah. Besides that, I thought that was pretty fun. So,
yes.
But everybody, join us this whole full month of January where we talk all types of killer objects. Up next, the Retro Blood is going to be talking about Nail Gun Massacre.
Ooh, Nail Gun Massacre. That's going to be great.
And this one was a fan-voted one, which I will tell you who did that next week. And we will continue with the massacre titles when we do Wood Chipper Massacre.
Ooh.
All right. And then we'll end the month with and I can't believe I'm saying this, a killer elevator.
Yeah.
The Lift. All right. So we'll see if I doubt the B has well structured as this particular film, but we'll see. You know what I mean? We'll see how it goes.
We will find out.
I'm pretty sure you can find most of these on Tubi. Everyone out there. So, but yeah.
If you want to follow along.
If you want to follow along, of course. Or you can just hear our sweet voices talk about it. You know what I mean? We'll tell you all the fine details of how it goes. So, but everybody, thanks for joining us here on the Retro Blood. Alison, I guess we'll just play that Pagan that song on there. Pagan Altar.
Pagan Altar? Yeah, we should play the song Pagan Altar.
Yeah, we'll play the self-titled track on there, brother. Because, we had a couple, well, I don't know if we had any pagans on here. I mean, I guess, I don't know. Environmental guys. You know what I mean? One with the earth.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe a little pagan out there. A little stretch,
yeah, maybe.
It's out there a little bit, so. But everybody, like I said, Happy New Year and everything. Thanks for joining us on this first review of 2025. It's going to be a huge year for the Retro Blood. We got a lot of stuff in the works.
Got a lot of stuff this year.
So hopefully we can make this one a big one. Like I said, like and subscribe. You can check us out on Apple, Spotify, the YouTube. Like us on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, whatever you get your social media stuff at. Like us on there. Check us all out, everybody. J.H. Alison, James Kline. We'll see y'all later.
See you guys.